toward the end of the Shutter Island movie, Teddy has a dialogue with both characters of the movie, doesn't matter. And he asks him which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man. I haven't watched the movie.
You haven't watched the movie.
Just to bring it into perspective,
Oh, God.
I haven't watched the movie.
You shouldn't go to the movie if you didn't watch the movie.
Well, you know me.
How do you even know the name of the characters?
Because I've seen this scene multiple times.
But he didn't see
And
the
it always got me to think about stuff. So at some point I had to check up some stuff about the movie, and it got onto my watching list, but I never
No
got to
way.
it.
No way.
Yeah. We all got our own issues, if you want to call it that.
Anyway.
Anyways, when I first heard that dialogue and the way he was asking the question and phrasing it, again, which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man, it always got me to think, what is a monster and what is a good man? And then I somehow related that at some point to the way Jordan Peterson talks to mostly to the new generations about how they should be a monster, and how he talks that it's better to have a sword and you know how to use the sword, but keep it sheathed. So when the battle happens, you know how to fight. It's like it's better to be a warrior who's working in a farm than to be a farmer who's working in a farm.
So it's like that you are prepared for worst case scenarios, that you know your way around the world, I guess, but you're just weary of things that might happen. But am I getting this right?
It depends on how it depends on, there's a lot of factors at hand, okay? Because I've thought about this for a very long time, but I've never actually found a way to describe both of them that for me at least was like, oh, that's the best definition. But I've found ways to kind of describe them to a certain degree. But first of all, I want to know your opinion about it before I go on and explaining my point of view. How would you see being a monster is, and what is a good man for you? You can just look at it in a more general perspective, maybe like life-wise or goal-wise.
I mean, when you say monster,
It's a
it's
metaphor.
like, yeah, but I think everyone would see it in a different way.
Definitely.
When you say the word monster, is that you are someone who does bad things in the
Okay.
world. Maybe they are bad for certain people. Maybe they are not objectively bad, but some people are going to perceive you as a monster,
Mhm.
because of the actions that you are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for me, like, we all have a monster inside of us, which is what we can call the shadow side, I guess. Like, the things that you hide deep within that you don't show to the world, that they manifest when you have these aggressive and angry moments, you know? So some people show this monster side in more explicit ways than other people. You know, like they harm others, they steal, they kill other people, they do bad things in the world in general, and other people channel this side in art forms, maybe, or things that are more healthy. So I guess that's how I see a monster, but I still don't completely understand the point you are trying to make here, like this quote. So maybe can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What you think what a monster is?
Before I get into that, the reason why I wanted to talk about this in this episode, because I feel this is a point that every man, every male, especially more traditional men, traditional masculine men, if you want to call it that, have to come to a decision. I feel like, in more simple words, mostly men's. Why men? Because our biology, our genes, our brain wiring as a man is different than it is for a woman, and that's a fact, regardless of anyone else says. I'm a firm believer of that. And because of the way we've been, we always, or at least traditional men, try to be the providers or protectors. You don't have to take it as the common definition of it nowadays, which is toxic masculinity, because that's not what I'm talking about here. But I guess most of us end up at that point where we have, or we are forced to ask ourselves the questions of how do I want to be at the end of my life? How do I want to be seen? Which applies to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then more specifically to men, do I want to be remembered as a good man, or do I want to be remembered as a monster?
But here there are different definitions. Like, what is a good man in the first place?
So for me, at least, or the way that that made sense to me is a good man is. You know the difference when somebody says you're a nice guy and you're a good guy?
That's what I was trying to think about. Like, maybe when you say a good man, maybe you're just talking about someone who was nice.
Not necessarily, no. So there's a huge difference between a nice guy or a nice person and a good person.
Yeah, sure.
And the difference, a nice person is usually a people pleaser who is always
just in front of you, what he's showing in front of you.
Not necessarily. He might be also feel that deep down, but what he's doing is fueled by his people pleasing needs.
Sure.
And a good man or a good person, that is fueled by his own beliefs, his intrinsic motivations. Exactly. So I tried, after thinking about it a lot, I came to the terms that a good man is, at least what I would define is, as someone who got rid of his ego. And he is willing and acceptance of life, terms, suffering, pain, taking responsibility, able to say no, and working toward a specific goal while he's trying to be in service of others. So technically, you are someone who's maybe in a better explained way, if you're going to look at the villain and the hero, which I always manage to go back to for some reason. Both had the same story. The hero decided that I don't want anyone to go through that pain. The villain decided the word hurt me, so I want to hurt the word back.
Yeah.
So the hero would be the good guy.
Yeah.
In this sense, he
giving back to the world.
He's willing to give back to the world, exactly. He's taking responsibility. He knows what he wants. He's working toward a goal. He's able to protect, provide, care, able of listening, able of helping people and pushing people.
Sure.
Now comes the monster. The monster here can be defined in multiple different ways. One of which is the villain. The word hurt me, so I want to hurt the word back. So they do stuff to hurt people. In a different way, the monster could also be someone who's hugely egoistical. So someone who's driven by his own ego, regardless of how people feel around him and what his actions could deal on harm people. And I'm not taking it to the extreme, I'm taking it on a really basic human needs kind of lifestyle. And someone who's like more self-centered. So a monster would be, for example, someone who is willing to harm others in order to get to a goal that they want to.
Sure.
A good guy or a good person would be someone who is trying to get to where they want to without harming others. And when I say harm, I don't mean that you're gonna piss people off on the way. Just to clarify it, I don't mean that you're gonna piss people with what you're doing, because that's gonna happen anyways. I'm talking about, okay, like this is the goal that I want, and if I want to get there, then I have to undermine this person. I have to talk shit about this person. I have to make sure that this person doesn't get
people in higher power positions. For
not necessarily this. You can even take this. I'm taking it on a really small scale, on like a day-to-day kind of life basis. Mm-hmm. So take it an example as in a company. You have a person who want to get that promotion.
Sure.
In order to get that promotion, they have to get rid of their competitors. And the way they try or decide to handle it is to undermine this person, throw this person under the bus. I don't know, trash talk this person, say that this guy is this, try to demotivate them, to demonize them, demean them, And this is someone who's willing to harm other people in order to get to where they want. On the other hand, is a good person is someone who's like, I don't care what other people do. I don't care how they're doing. I'm gonna focus on myself, on what I'm doing, and try to improve what I'm doing so I can get to the goal that I want to, without causing harm purposefully to other people.
Yeah.
And they're fine with the fact that along the way, people are gonna hate them. At the end of the day, they both get to their goals. It's just that they both had different approaches in different
not
ways.
only different approach. I like to see it that when you're choosing to be a monster, you're taking the easy way out. It is the easiest thing to do. To be a monster is very easy. You take the easy decisions. And to be a good guy, then you need to take the harder decisions where
That is true.
you're working on yourself, you are taking care of other people. And in addition to that, I think what you're describing is just two ends of the same spectrum, you know, and most of us sit somewhere in the middle, while some people become really good people. Like we have these figures like the Buddha or Mother Teresa or whatever, Oprah or whoever you wanna think about, you know, like who are really good people. They want to help others, and it's not only because of image. They just want to be good people. And you have the other end of the spectrum where just the traditional narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths. So I think most of us sit somewhere in the middle and trying to be better people. And as you said, we're like, we have to make a decision and what we want to do from now on. If you want to become better people, or maybe something traumatic is going to happen that is going to push us more toward being a monster, taking the easy way out, the easy decision to hate the world, to victimize ourselves, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Another perspective to add in there as well, which I also connected it. That's the funny thing. That's why I was like, I didn't watch the movie because I just heard this quote and my brain, or the dialogue at least, and this question from the dialogue got me going all over the place thinking about it. And one of the other perspective that I thought about is, it's like, do you, as a guy at least, I'm a guy, so I can relate to guys a lot more than I can to women. Surprise, surprise. Hey. Nevertheless, would you rather that your family and your loved ones are able to talk to you about the issues that they have, knowing that you're going to listen to that and you're going to be supportive? Or would you rather be the guy that they will call you when they're in deep shit, knowing that you are willing to do whatever it fucking takes to get them out of the trouble that they got into? Because you can't, it's almost impossible. I guess it is doable to a certain degree, and some magically freaking way. But it's, in my opinion, it's really hard and tough to be both. Because you're either the guy that people are gonna call and be like, hey, I'm in the middle of the desert and I'm fucking dying. If you don't come and get me in 24 hours, I'm gonna fucking die. And then you're the guy who does everything you can to go and get them. Or you're the guy that people are gonna call and be like, I'm stuck in the desert. I'm feeling lonely. I'm struggling. I'm suffering. And you're gonna have to listen and try to be supportive and try to be understanding and empathetic toward them.
I think with some people you're gonna be category 1, and with other people you're gonna be
exactly.
This is not about you per se. This is about your relationship with the other person.
It is about you, because it depends on what kind of person you show yourself to be.
But this is the thing. When I think about this scenario you're trying to say, and actually, like today I was watching Mark Manson's newest podcast episode, and he was talking about exactly the same thing and about exactly the same example.
Okay.
So it's something that I was already thinking about, you know? And there are some people that, like people in my life, where if I had that phone call, I know that I'm just going to be supportive, but I'm not going to do more than that. I'm not going to put everything.
We're not talking about every person. We're talking about your loved one and your families.
Sure.
The people that you genuinely want in your life. To them, you're either this or this, depending on the person that you're showing yourself to be in front of them.
Yeah.
So, if you are usually the supportive friend or the supportive partner, then they're gonna call you when they need that support, when they're gonna need you to listen to them. But if you're usually the guy who has it together and is willing to go above and beyond, the extra mile and above and beyond to help them, then they're gonna call you when they're in deep shit. So again, it's the same kind of. Do you want to be? it depends. You can look at it like, okay, the good guy is the one that listens. It's not necessarily like
It's
this.
not necessarily that. It's not
Exactly, but it's also related. Like, you want to be the guy that people call and vent to and try to maybe have someone who
Just
understands
emotional
them.
support, just
Exactly, or do you want to be the guy that's like, okay, this person needs this kind of help or in this kind of position, so I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it takes to get them out of it.
I feel like I'm someone who is stuck in the middle somewhere. Like, I've always been more of the passive guy. You know, like people would ask me for advice sometimes or like emotional support but lately I've been leaning more toward becoming more a guy in category 2 where I would put more effort. I would do more practical things to help the person in need. Things that will actually help in the long run, not something that would just soothe them or sugarcoat their situation in the moment. Because this is what I've always done. Like, sugarcoat the situation, make them feel better, make them feel that, hey, there's hope, things are gonna get better. This is good. I think it's something good. You're still putting positive energy toward other people, but sometimes it's not what is needed.
The yang wouldn't exist without the yin,
Exactly.
and the yin wouldn't exist without the yang.
I wouldn't even say that they are opposites. Like, I think both.
They kind of are. They kind of are. Because you have to look at it like this. The first one is more of emotional intelligence, and the other one is more of practical and logical thinking.
But are they opposites? Like, the opposite of
I don't know if
doing good things for other people, you're just saying bad things. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's the opposite, but they're
like
completely
different. Of the same coin. They're different
maybe,
sides of the same
maybe,
coin,
maybe. But anyways, so the general topic is the decision that you have to make about how you want to be remembered right now and how you want to be remembered when you're gone, and how you want people to know you as. And that's a point that I feel a lot of people, they decide on something and they choose to switch it at some point to change the directions.
I don't think it's as simple as that.
Or they try to find the middle way. It is not as simple as that.
I don't think the decision is completely your own. You know, we've talked about this.
It before. Is your own. It is. I am a firm believer.
Circumstances that are
sure.
It.
That the decision is your own to make.
Sure. But I think your life experiences. You need to have experiences to. What's made
everything?
You, like,
everything plays a role after all. There's many factors that we cannot even begin to count it. Again,
but that's what I mean. You need to have more experiences. You need to get older, maybe.
Definitely.
To understand.
Definitely.
The difference, or what it means to be this guy, what it means to be that other
But I
guy.
feel like it's also one of the reasons why people go, for example, in midlife crisis. Because they've always thought that this is who they want to be. And when the time came, they realized that, oh, okay, no, this is not what I want to be. This is kind of different from who I want to be. And then that leads them to question a lot of stuff, and then everything crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there is any way to make such a decision, or making such a decision an easier process, or maybe a clearer process? Beside the obvious, which is, you need experience, you need to be able to think about things for the future.
I would say experience is not up to you. It's gonna happen. Like if you want to give someone advice, you don't say have more experience.
Yeah.
But maybe you need to expose yourself to more, not information in a sense, but more like
experiences
of other people as well. You need to read more about people in the past.
There's
exposure, I would say.
Luck doesn't just happen.
True.
This is gonna piss a lot of people off. Luck doesn't just happen. You put yourself in a position where you can get lucky.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna go ahead and undermine.
But this is what I'm trying to say, in a sense.
I'm saying exactly. I'm trying to help to build up your point.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself in a position where you can be exposed to that.
Yeah, and you
in the
can
sense of be close to people, be genuine, and then people are gonna come to you either for this or this, and then you're gonna have
decisions.
experience with both ways of being, and then that will help you make the decision. Which is why I said that luck doesn't just happen.
Okay, so I'd like to see it like maybe there's this theoretical experience and there's the real experience.
But at the same time,
like
sorry,
you can
sorry,
you can
go
gather the experience
Mhm.
of other people if you read history books or
not
you read about
only this,
and see how you deal with people in general. You know,
you can also look at it like this. You know how our brains, which again, I'm going back to Joe Dispenza. The brain doesn't know the difference between a thought that you're having and a real life experience.
Mhm.
So technically, you could meditate on you being in these kind of situations and circumstances, and then having to either do something to help somebody or just be there.
imagine the scenario. Yeah,
And of course, that's going to build up a lot of connections in your brain, neuroplasticity again, and it's going to give you the experience that you want.
Yeah.
But you have to be really willing to indulge into that meditation session and whatever's going on in your head. And that's going to give you a little bit more exposure, a little bit more experience, a little bit more knowledge maybe about it, which is going to help you making the decision. Regardless, any other...
I would say this brings me to the second thing I would argue is important, which is just committing to the mission or committing to the journey. Like, you know, you want to be a better person. You know, you want to be more the guy that people can rely on. So you are committed to this path. And this is where you can tolerate these meditation sessions or read more books or get to know more people. But if you're not committed to it and you're questioning if this is really what you want, then it's much harder to expose yourself to these type of experiences. So committing to your past, knowing what you want and what you're looking for in the future, I guess is just really crucial for that.
One of my other points, though, before I agree with you, because my point here is gonna clash a little bit with what you're talking about. Remember that each person brings out a different side of you.
Sure.
Whether you want to believe that or not. I can speak about this from my own experience.
No, this is 100% true.
And
I don't think
I know I'm not that old, but I've had my share of meeting and talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Due to my work, due to me moving countries, due to me, well, not anymore, but using to be more social, and due to me being online a lot and meeting people online a lot. Every person would bring out a different side of you. Some people would bring out the side of you that is more softy and more emotional. And some people bring out the side of you where you are the more logical, the more solution-oriented kind of person. So when you make the decision and you decide to commit to the mission, in the sense of if you make the decision that, okay, I want to be the guy that people can count on to solve their problems and get rid of their shit, you have to remember that the people that you choose that are going to remain in your life till the end of your life, I think you've got to try to aim for the people that will put you in such positions, not people that will come to you for emotional support. Because that's just going to make you question almost everything. And that's going to make you kind of go back to step one. Of course, you can have people from both.
People who align more to your...
You can have people that bring out both sides of you. But you always have to differentiate that, okay, with this person, I'm being like this because this is the kind of person that this is the side that they bring.
They are setting the limits. You're not the one who is...
Exactly. And this is just the part of me that comes out with this specific person. And the other parts
like
come out with other
There's
person.
a cap somewhere.
Exactly. Because I guess a lot of people are surprised when they are being one or the other depending on the person. And some people expected like...
This is what I was trying to say like a while back. Like that with some people I can see myself...
Exactly.
Doing more...
Exactly.
More than emotional support. While with other people, I don't see the barrier... I don't see the barrier... What's the word here? You can't go above this cap that is, you know, like that is stopping this type of connection.
It depends. It's like communication happens, which Okay, I'm going off.
It's not only that. There are some people who are just not
I'm-
worth it.
Okay.
Like this is another point here, but like it also goes like the people you are choosing in your life. You know
There's
what
a
I mean?
difference between some
Like,
people are
are
not.
they worth the energy and the commitment that you are
You
making?
have to add subjectively there.
Sure, it is absolutely subjective.
Exactly. Because when we go, if you're gonna go about whether people are worth it or not, that's gonna be a huge topic.
It's very subjective. It's very subjective.
Whether they are worth the suffering for you.
Yeah.
It's the same question they always ask.
You have your own criteria that you
Exactly.
base things on.
Is it worthwhile that I have to do all of this for this person that, for example, I don't know, I don't consider a real friend, or I don't even really like that much. I just know them because of work or circumstances or whatever. That's something that's completely different or up to you, subjective.
It's a decision for you, like based on your own life and what you're aiming towards. Like for some people, helping even strangers is their life goal.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But for other people, you put more time into just the people who are close to you. It just depends on you, on your values, and what are you aiming for in the first place. You know, so that's why it's very subjective. That's
There's
for
many,
sure.
many, exactly.
So what I'm trying to say here is that there are many things that I guess cap your potential in.
I wouldn't call it cap your potential. It's not. I don't think that they cap your potential. I think that this is the capacity of
Yeah.
the relationship that you have with these people.
Just a moment. This doesn't the word cap come from capacity? Not sure here.
It depends on how you define it. Because cap, in of itself, you have a cap, a summer cap, and then you've got the cap for a bottle.
But I think maybe
And then-
it's just a question here. Like
No.
the word cap.
Yeah. But you have cap as in cap, you have cap
I know,
as in
yeah.
capacity, and you have cap as in the lid that you put on a
But
bottle.
capping something, the capping potential. The word cap comes from
That's maximum.
capacity, right?
You mean maxing.
Not really.
Maxing your potential.
No, but when we say there's a cap for something, like limits,
Yeah.
there's a cap.
Yeah.
The word cap comes from
Okay.
capacity.
Yeah.
Right?
In that context, then
I
yeah.
was just connecting something in my brain, but I wasn't sure if it's the same word or not. So.
If
Yeah.
in that
Off
context,
topic,
then yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. It's the capacity of the relationship that you have with this person. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it, whether we like to admit it or not, every relationship, every friendship, everything has a capacity.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the capacity is, okay, I'm only willing to do this much for this person.
Yeah.
You know, ego is related to that, by the way.
Sure.
Just bring it into perspective, because we were talking about ego and getting rid of your ego as a good man, and then letting your ego kind of dictate what you're gonna do as a monster if you want. I've got nothing else. I don't know if you do.
I was just trying to add it to something that we have talked about before when I told you about this book I'm reading where it talks about resistance, like the force that stops you from doing the work or just putting things out in the world. You know what I mean? So I like to connect it here as well, that maybe being a monster is related to this resistance in some sense, because when you give in to resistance, it means you are taking the easy decisions that are gonna make you not do the work, not help people, not make these hard decisions. While when you fight this resistance and you win over it, it means you are taking the harder decisions and you're willing to put the work despite this, not tendency, but more like voices that try to stop you, you know, like to. So maybe there is some connection here as well.
The difference between a monster and a good man is the monster, both of them have a sword. We're just going to take it as a metaphor. Both of them got swords. Both of them know how to wield the sword. The monster is willingly wielding the sword and swinging it left and right to get to where they want to get to. And most of done for no reason, so without a war, per se. And the good man is willingly keeping his sword cheap and trying to make his way in a different manner to where he want to go. That's connecting the quote, the question, the dialogue, and Jordan Peterson's ways of saying that better to be a warrior in a farm than being a farmer in a farm.
Great.
A farmer in a war.
So we just go full circle here and we tie it to the first point, and that's a perfect way
Yeah.
to end the episode here. So yeah, I don't think we're offering like solutions here in this episode or like answering questions per se, just a topic of
I'm gonna be honest.
something to think about, you know?
I don't see myself as someone who's able to offer any solutions to anybody. I'm able to offer
Your own perspective.
my own perspective and maybe
That's the point.
light up some burned out bulb in somebody's brain. Hopefully, I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
So they can think about things from a different perspective or help them connect some dots. Can I offer you a solution? I can't.
I guess what
I can't even offer myself solutions. I'm not gonna lie to you all.
Maybe I
can't even offer
maybe
myself.
I phrased it a little bit wrong here, but what I'm trying to say is like maybe this is more of an abstract
It is.
idea. It's not like something, okay, I have a problem here, maybe I listen to this, maybe I get inspired. It's more like something to think about, something philosophical, something deep maybe you didn't think about before, as I have not thought much about it before reading it maybe in some books and forgetting about it, and then Mo telling me about it and then thinking about this idea, and then coincidentally Mark Manson talking about it in his newest podcast. So everything is aligning here.
The collective consciousness of the
Exactly,
human being
exactly.
that's bringing us to
It's
think
meant to
about
be.
this.
It's
It
meant
is
to be.
meant to be.
All right.
On this note, thank you for watching. If you stick around so far, please let us know if you have any opinions or any different definitions about being a monster, what a monster is, and what is a good man. Other than that, leave a like and subscribe if you like this episode and watch this far.
Thank you for watching.
See you in the next time.